Hey everyone, this is a video recap of our workshops on making your case. And in this recap, I am going to just highlight things that we talked about and provide you with links if you want to go back and review any of the videos or other materials that we talked about. So you can take this at your leisure. Making your case, it's something that we all do all day, every day, more or less unconsciously sometimes. But in the case of making a case in a presentation for a specific purpose, that takes crafting. And that's what we're talking about here. I gave a recipe for building trust and rapport because building trust and rapport is absolutely essential to making your case. This is about your stance, and it's about how people feel about you. And this is how they come to trust you. Turning your case into a story. We talked about how people are motivated by things that tug at them emotionally. This is the neuroscience perspective. And when the right part of the brain is, the right side of the brain is about emotions and stories, while the left side of the brain is about facts and figures. So when we're giving our story in facts and figures, we're going to be inviting challenge. But when we craft our story such that the facts and figures support an emotional story, we're able to kind of fly under the radar and get people engaged. And that's really important. It's important in building trust. We must have a storyline to engage people emotionally. Now, story is not just a series of events. It's about a character facing an interesting challenge, and it's the drama of how they overcame that. So an actual story can play a role in introducing your case and in your storytelling throughout your whole presentation. But before you can do any of that, you've got to know what your point is. And that's not easy. Sometimes we start out thinking our point is one thing, and as we get into it, we come to realize that that's not our point at all. Talking it through with someone else is valuable, and it is a process. I was working with a client recently who was making a case for their local and their local community of like-minded people. And as we dug in more to who they are and what they're about, it became clear that they are a global teaching platform. Once you know what your point is, you'll be able to create all of the support points really easily. Chris Anderson showed us that remarkable process of how brains connect, how an idea in one person's imagination shows up in other people's imagination simply because they shared it from their voice, from their heart, and with their story. I loved that. He gives us these 4 steps to incorporate as we build a case that is compelling as well. You've got to have heartfelt belief in your idea, though, so your listeners can connect with you. Proper structure and flow make your story easy to follow. Structure and flow are every bit as important as knowing your point, because structure gives everything in your story a place, and flow takes your audience from the beginning to the middle to the end and puts everything in the right context. The key takeaway from Simon Sinek's video was about the importance of the why versus the how and the what. Back again to the right and the left brain, and building trust, building connection. Being clear about and artfully using our why, we connect better and faster with our audience. It doesn't mean that we just start out by saying, this is why I'm doing this. It can be done in a more embedded kind of a way. I use the tools of flow, structure, and context and storytelling to help the Homeless Garden Project, and I shared that. This was an example of a messy story, very wonderful, but messy story that we were able to make into a coherent one. Never forget your audience. I talked about radio station WIIFM, what's in it for me. That's the position that your audience is coming from. It's always like, what about this is important? What about this can I neglect? So keeping your audience in mind always, why are they here? What is motivating them? They are real people at the other end of this presentation. And what compelled them to give you their valuable time, honor their time. It's really important that you design your messaging and your story with them in mind. I gave a number of tips and tricks for infusing your content with engaging elements and for being able to deliver your content. The resources link there is for you. Come on. Okay, that's not the right slide. Go forth and make it happen. I know you guys have got this. You've got a message worth sharing. You know how to create the flow and the linkage. And I'm really excited to see your finished presentations. Have fun.